Predator Badlands is the third Predator film in a row to be directed by Dan Trachtenberg, and it tells the story of Deck, a young predator outcast who seeks the ultimate trophy to win the honor of his clan. Carnage ensues. Hey guys, hope it was jiggy. Now, I love Dan Trachtenberg for how he recently saved the Predator franchise. I don't love Prey or Killer of Killers like everyone else does, but I like them enough and respect how different they felt, so I was excited to see what Trachtenberg would do with Badlands. And you know what? It only took me 10 minutes to realize that Badlands was one of my favorites in the franchise. Dan Trachtenberg has done it again. This is my favorite of his 3 films so far. Now look, sure, I prefer practical Predator faces, but there's no way this could have been told entirely from the point of view of the Predators with practical effects. These Predators talk a lot, and CGI was required for such a task, so the CGI faces make sense and they don't look bad at all. It's also refreshing to see a whole film with a Yautja speak in their native tongue throughout. Thank the Lord they didn't play it safe and have the Yautja speaking English to placate viewers who hate reading subtitles. It's wonderful stuff and fully sucked me into the screen. More importantly, this is some of the most acting I've ever seen these Yautja actors do. All of these actors had to actually learn to speak this alien language, and it all sounds badass. And the planet full of crazy monsters was cool too. We get these long sequences without any dialogue, seeing Deck learn how to fight these creepy aliens. It's gripping stuff. Deck has a similar arc to Naru in Prey, but seeing it from this side of the coin gave it a fresh lick of paint. It's all fun, unique stuff that's shot pretty well. Some of the monster designs were pretty bland, however. We've seen a lot of this stuff before. It feels very King Kong-esque, but at least most of the monster scenes were fun. Ellie Fanning plays the synthetic android, Thea. She gives a solid performance too. She's pretty funny at times with how her social skills conflict with Deck's, and I like her dialogue too. I've learned to accept it, but I'm not a fan of how Thea was designed by Weyland-Yutani, which means that this is officially connecting the Alien and Predator universes together. I'm just not into that. Connecting the 2 worlds officially is odd to me, because in my opinion, the 2 universes do not fit, but still, I accepted it. I guess this is Trachtenberg's way of easing us into an upcoming Alien vs. Predator film, and it kind of worked. It eased me into the concept, and I'm kind of learning to accept it now. And it was also dope seeing Deck turn into Dutch from the first film, but I'm not going to talk spoilers. Just watch it and you'll see what I mean. It's cool stuff. Yes, the 12A PG-13 rating is an issue, but Badlands is still very violent and gory. It's just that androids and CGI monsters get torn apart here. There are no human characters here, which means no human blood, which is incredibly different for a Predator entry. What a ballsy original sequel we got here. However, Badlands has plenty of issues, some of its own, some returning from previous Predator entries. Ever since 2018's The Predator, the Predator films have over-relied on characters being lucky, being at the right place at the right time for that specific thing to happen to push the plot forward. They do it so much that they lose credibility, and sadly, Badlands commits the same crime. It is not as bad as it was in Killer of Killers, thank God, but it's still here. It needs to stop. 4 Predator movies in a row, all over-relying on good luck, just takes the piss. I also think this is another Predator entry that just wasn't imaginative enough. Look, let's face facts, guys. The Yautja already felt way too human. They look a lot like us, and their gear feels very similar to ours. Well, it's worse now. We get Predator swords and bows and arrows. It just doesn't feel alien enough to me. I mean, small nitpick here, but when the Yautja say no, we hear them say nai. Nai sounds far too similar to no, and it's dumb that an alien language sounds that close to our language. I also didn't like seeing a Predator laugh like a human being. It's not imaginative enough for me. But when it comes to Badlands' original issues, I was so confused by how Thea and Dec spoke to each other. Because Dec is so young, he hasn't learned to speak English yet. So Thea has to use her built-in robotic system to speak Yautja to communicate with him. That makes complete sense. But when Dec speaks Yautja, we hear him in Yautja, but subtitled. So why is it that when Thea speaks Yautja, we hear her in English? These two characters speak the same fictional alien language, but we hear one in English and the other one in Yautja? Subtitled? That makes no sense and confused me throughout. And yes, the 12A PG-13 rating was fine for me because Badlands was still appropriately violent. However, it still has a childish feel at times. There's this cutesy little monkey-type creature called Bud. I hate him. He feels like a leftover Star Wars pet. His design is unimaginative and he just gave the film a family-friendly feel. I hate that. And although the build-up to the third act was so exciting, a lot of the third act was just okay to me. It isn't bad, but we've seen it all before. It wasn't shot particularly well, and it was just the means to an end. However, the last 5 minutes in the final line did get me juiced. So there is that. The third act could have been way worse, but it could have also been far better in my eyes. So, in the end, Predator Badlands is solid. If you're unfamiliar with the franchise, you'll get a fun little sci-fi action story with cool visuals and solid action. But if you're a Predator fan, it's essential. No, it doesn't expand the universe much, but it does breathe fresh air into this universe and shows us stuff we've never seen before. It has plenty of problems, but it's still a fun ride. Pretty original for this franchise and easily one of the best entries so far in my opinion. What's also nuts is that I grew up having to wait a whole decade for each new Predator entry, and now I just got 2 in 1 year. We've had so much content of late, and none of it feels worn out or oversaturated. So Dan Trachtenberg, thank you so much for all you've done for this franchise. But please, no more over-reliance on good luck and no more family-friendly content, yeah? I'm gonna give Predator Badlands a 7.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay jiggy. The better appreciate you.